Yeah.
So, it's just been a thrill to get to know Hina through this process. What an amazing woman. So Hina has recently graduated with an MA in Education Leadership and Management at Liverpool Hope University, and her next step will be a PhD at Liverpool John Moores. As a student, Hina is engaged with the complexity of education, critical theory, and its impact on working class backgrounds. Hina, as a whole, always had an interest in projects that challenge the politics of shame in relation to single motherhood, and is interested in engaging diverse communities to foster a broad dialogue on the boundaries of culture, sexism, and hope, informed by trajectories of success. Goodness me. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Hina now to share her talk.
So, okay, hello everyone. I'm Hina. So you've got my official introduction, but then I'm going to have my own kind of introduction, and I want to see how people react to that. So you were told that I'm a student, I've just completed my MA, going to pursue my PhD. But then when I also tell people, okay, I kind of like not tell people that I'm also a single mom of 3 children, and I'm a Muslim, and I'm a woman of color. So suddenly I feel like people change the way they look at me. And, you know, obviously I'm being then grouped or, you know, into different category or whatever. So people certainly change the way they see me. They no longer see me as a learner. You know, I'm not given that learner identity. I'm all of a sudden looked at differently. So there are times when I'm told to hide that part of my life, and I don't understand why. So today I'm going to start by I was going to apologize for my accent, for, you know, maybe I'll end up mispronouncing a couple of words. But I'm not going to apologize today because I feel I will be more accepted today. So I'm okay. So I'm going to start my presentation by saying that people like me don't, you know, openly speak about the experiences of what they go through. So when I was first told by Peter to write about my journey and, you know, sit and talk about my journey, I found that really difficult. I didn't tell him that, you know, I looked excited and I said, yes, oh, I'm really excited to be a part of this. And I feel really privileged to share this platform with all you intellectuals, and I feel intimidated at the same time. And I'm terrified, but I didn't, you know, openly say that I'm scared to sit and reflect on my own journey, because in some way I'm kind of ashamed, or you could say scared, because I feel like I was, because of what I went through in my own personal journey, that has kind of had a huge impact on me as a person. But I'm going to still take a deep breath and share my journey, and hopefully this can make a difference to someone's life. And that's the main reason that I'm doing it, so that people or women of color like me feel they can, you know, relate to someone, because I didn't find, you know, women who were more visible, you know, whose journeys I could relate to. So maybe someone could relate to mine and resonate to mine. So I belong to a very conservative family, and I was raised in an environment where social perception was emphasized. So the focus was always on achievements that were deemed acceptable by society and culture. So naturally, I was conditioned to never say no to my elders and be that obedient child always. So I always dreamt of going to, you know, a university, graduate someday, wear that gown, and, you know, become a lawyer someday. But I knew deep down that that was never going to happen, because I came from a working class background, and it was always a struggle, you know, to meet ends. Oh, and I forgot, I didn't mention that, you know, you're going to wonder, how did I turn up in England? I am originally from Kenya. So yeah, I'm telling you now how I ended up here. So I was still in college when I was forced into an arranged marriage, and I wasn't brave enough to say no or stand up for myself, stand up against my parents or my, my community and all of that. So I was forced into an arranged marriage when I was a teen. I felt like I had no choice. So I felt like I started losing my identity starting from that. So as soon as I got married, I had no say in anything. I felt like my opinion never mattered. So by early 20s, I was forced into having kids. By mid 20s, I was divorced. So you could say I never had a happy marriage, faced verbal abuse, emotional, physical, domestic violence, had to go to a refuge and all of that. So that was part of my journey. But the first thing that I did after I got divorced was go and enroll for a degree. And that was my way of escaping all the troubles. And it kind of gave me a route out, because I felt really isolated when I first came into this country, and had no friends, no one to talk to, because I wasn't allowed. That was the main thing. So when I first went to enroll for my, obviously you can't just enroll, so you go through, the paperwork and the interview and all of that. So I was interviewed by Peter Shuki and Ruth Paxton. I still remember that interview, and we had a lovely conversation. I was asked a couple of questions, answered them, and he told me that, I might struggle a little bit because obviously, just throwing myself into applying for a degree and, starting my educational journey will be very difficult for me, because I obviously, most of my education background came from Kenya. And I still remember that I told him, if I can manage to take care of 3 children on my own in this country where I don't know anyone, or, I knew people, but I still felt very isolated because I was excluded from my community because I was divorced. Then I can, handle anything else, and I can multitask, and I'll learn everything. So please just give me a chance. And I did. And he asked me to do an essay, and if I, somehow did that essay well, he would then think about it. But I am so grateful to him that he took a chance on me, and I got onto that degree course, and I'm here today, completed my master's, and I feel like I owe a lot to him for my success, as you call it. So yeah, so when I first so access to higher education gave me not only a voice to challenge my experiences, but also it kind of saved me from myself, because it's very, because I was fighting isolation, I was fighting anxiety, I was constantly getting criticized because I chose to straight away go and get back into education rather than staying home and taking care of the kids and being a good mom. So there was always that perception that I'm starting to be rebellious in some sort of a way, and I found that really weird. So and then later, because initially I didn't even understand what's the meaning to be working class until I had an interview and I was asked certain questions which made me really think what identity means, what being working class individual means. But then after reading more about it, I felt even more oppressed, and I faced like a constant battle with myself, and I felt like I need to strive and work harder and do better. It is certainly, especially for my kids. And I didn't want to be, I didn't want anyone to look at me and feel like I fit into this box. I didn't want to fit into any box. I just wanted to be myself and then pursue whatever I wanted to. I wanted to just be free, and being free, I might be sounding ridiculous to most of you, but to me, it was a huge deal. And I felt education, especially higher education, gave me that route to kind of express myself, to be able to have opinions. It was okay to speak about stuff that was normally not okay to speak about in front of my community or my, so-called relatives who are not present, but always had an opinion about how I lived my life. So there was a constant battle on identity, because I don't, when people question me or that, I'm not only a Muslim, I'm not only a mother, like, I'm much more than that. So that's what I like to say, that, it's like Andy and Steph said, it's much more, there's much more to identity than just, being told that you're a certain type of a person or you fit into a certain social circle or class. So my parents, I had a very difficult conversation with them. So it took a divorce to, have those kind of conversations and break the generational curse and cycle, as you might say, and, move on in life. My parents were happy that I was doing well and I was not a burden, because normally because I was, I'm constantly reminded by especially people over here that, oh, I'm lucky or I'm strong. These are the only two sarcastic compliments I ever get from people from my community, only because they feel like, it's a privilege. To me, it should be a privilege to be here, because if I was in Kenya and I was divorced over there, my life would have been different somehow. So I'm lucky that I can take advantage of the opportunities here. And I'm thinking education should be a basic right. It shouldn't be just for the rich. Some things that people say are, they put you into a very conflicting position where you're constantly fighting with yourself. You feel your self-esteem, like it hurts a lot when you hear such things, and obviously you feel like you don't fit in anywhere. So, like, where do you fit in? Where do people like me fit in? Where do women like me fit in? Because we don't fit in our community. So I feel like the outsiders are more accepting than my community, and that's the tough truth. That's why I feel like I could never be dishonest with someone from, if I was speaking to my own relative or cousin or anyone from my background, a community. But I feel like I can be more honest with you people, because I will not be looked at, very differently. So once I started attending, university, sorry, I'm really nervous. I felt like I didn't know anything. I didn't own a laptop then, so I had to learn everything from scratch. I had, got a laptop. I didn't know how to submit an assignment online. So my peers and, the lecturers were my support system. They sort of became my family. As I think Steph mentioned earlier, unis should be more welcoming. I really felt that at Blackburn College. I felt like the uni really was welcoming. The lecturers were really good. They really, treated you well, and they had that thing where they were keen to listen to you. They didn't just treat you like, you don't have that teacher-student relationship. You have more to that. You have people who care how you really are doing. When you ask someone how you're doing, you don't want to know the real answer. You're just asking out of formality or courtesy or stuff. But I felt like my peers and my friends at uni, the lecturers, really wanted to know how I was coping with everything. And I'm happy that, from an average student, I now can write good essays. I now can speak at conferences, and now can present, at places. And I feel like as a brown woman, I am constantly criticized for being ambitious, for having opinions, for dressing a certain way, and when I'm unwilling to succumb to cultural norms, it paints a picture of being either too stubborn or, westernized, too westernized. Why I feel like I should really talk about this is because I have daughters, and I promised myself to never make them feel inferior because of their gender or their class, and make allowances for patriarchal system or the misogyny. And it's also important to destroy the fairy tale perception of marriage being the core indicator of success, which is so heavily embedded into not only our society from an early age, but also, TV and the storybooks that we read to our children. The barriers of being successful are not only just money and education for working class women of color, especially. I feel that also family and community play a key role in ostracizing them from having and reaching a certain goal. So my pursuit of happiness is always comes with a bit of guilt, but because I cannot always attend the children's school assembly, or I cannot always be there, for their special day when they're performing in school, or there's a Christmas play, because I'm a lone parent and I have to work. I'm a full-time student as well, so I have to kind of juggle everything, so I cannot fully be there sometimes. And I feel like society makes me feel that's not okay, or I'm a bad mom somehow, but I feel like I'm doing it for them. And I try to work extra hard so that they can have a better future.
Okay, take your time.
Sorry.
It's totally fine. Such a lot of warmth for you to read through the chat when you finish, but you just take a breath and carry on.
I'm really sorry. Okay, so I think we get caught up with what people think about us, and are they accepting of us, is what the system deems as appropriate or normal or healthy or acceptable. So I sit heavily with the ways I have internalized people's beliefs and expectations as truth over the years. Sorry, I didn't even think that I was going to be this emotional, but it's silly.
We're all with you, and everybody is so keen to hear, the rest of your words. So just deep breath.
So I think it's really important to, explore your identity, but I at the same time feel people will always hide behind their identity, like myself. And I feel really strongly about breaking the stereotypes, and and I always say that it's not the religion that's bad, it's the culture, it's the people whose mindsets need to be changed. It's never the religion, it's always the people who kind of twist, religion to suit their own needs. And that's why I feel like I'm constantly seeking validation or affirmation from people, and I feel like there's a constant need to get approval, to remind myself, if I'm on the right track, or if I'm doing things a certain way. I'm very conscious of each decision that I make. But at the same time, I think, I still feel like I still get worried when I think about what kind of a role I'll end up with future-wise, because now I'm thinking of pursuing a PhD, which has been a dream, and I never thought, that could ever happen. But because of people like Peter, Lou, Kay, whether it's Alex or Craig, and these are the thinkers whom I resonate more with, because they talk about real things, about they have real conversations, real dialogues. You can see that when you read their stuff, I feel like they kind of create the as you may call pedagogies of resistance through their work, and that's why I feel like you can be in the system, but you can still resist it by being involved in different not only different ways of teaching your own modules in higher education, but also being more active and being an educator rather than being a professional, I would say, and not monetizing everything. And it's people like them give me hope, and I feel like when I see someone like Lou, someone like Joe, okay, because they're women, and I see them doing really well in their field, I feel like they gave me a bit of hope that maybe one day I could also make it, also be successful, or kind of also, but what pushes me back is I don't have my family here. I don't have a support, so there's always troubles with childcare. I always miss out on opportunities to attend conferences or job opportunities, training opportunities, because of things like childcare. It's so expensive, so majority of obviously my money goes towards that. And I feel like what's the future for women like me in academia? And I'm going to end with that.
Fabulous, thank you, Hina. Do you want to stop sharing your screen then? And then we can see you in all your brilliance then. Okay, thank you. Thank you for pushing on there. Through that emotion. I was just thinking as you spoke then, I look at you and you make me think, oh, maybe I could do it. Yeah, so I wanted to say that. We do, there's an overwhelming amount of stuff for you to look through in the chat, of course, but in terms of a question, if I just ask you this one here from Scott Freer. First, he begins by saying, Hina, you are amazing. And then says that many of his mature students are from very similar backgrounds and have spoken of very similar experiences. So he asks, what can higher education do to build that sense of belonging and welcoming?
I think dialogue helps a lot. So sometimes when your students ask for an extension, they don't just ask for an extension for the sake of it, but sometimes when people like me ask for it, they really need it. Because I remember asking for an extension while I was doing my dissertation, because I was in the middle of moving houses because they had increased my rent. So, just empathy and being kind, and sometimes having student support. I think that really helped me. Because in Blackburn College, they had a team, staff who would proofread their work, because sometimes our writing style is different from yours. The way we speak, the way we write, the way we think, it takes a lot to change. It's taken a lot for me to change because I've started reading a lot more. I've read a lot of other people, so I'm slowly, I still don't call myself an academic. I call myself as a learner, learning to learn that, the term that Ian used, and I really relate to that. And Andy used, I've got a learner identity. So I feel like even if I become a doctorate, I'll still call myself a learner, because there's some things, which I'm not as good as probably you or other people. So yeah, so I think just having student support and a group of people that, just help them.
Okay. Right, so we've got a question from Karen here, and she says, well, similar to Scott really, how do we in academic positions, so she means her, make sure we connect with students who are facing significant challenges as they transition to university? Okay.
Sometimes it helps to just make them feel that it's normal, it's okay. You know, you're not, and it's going to end someday. You're not going to just be in that cycle. So sometimes just normalizing things for us is a step. Having honest conversations and then maybe one-to-one tutorial kind of thing really helps. It's the small things. They don't have to do anything drastic. It's just the small things, you know, or just making sure they've got friends whom they can talk to. A phone call can, you know, save someone from getting insane sometimes because your thoughts take over. And I've been there.
You see, you're saying the small things, but actually it's the small things that you're calling that are, I think academia needs to hear more about. I think, you know, they're not small really, are they? They're not small. They're not small. Okay, so there is a kind of another comment there. Hina, I feel your tears demonstrate the brown working class journey in academia, both from our constituent communities and others we encounter. Know that you are paving the way for your own children and others. What advice would you give your daughters in aspiring to make difficult choices and have dreams despite others' expectations? So it's advice for your daughter.
That sounds really bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. Do not take advice from your relatives. That's number one.
Oh, not you then. Except you. Except you.
Yeah, because I feel like when I told my uncles or, you know, people, especially people who are living here and who are middle class, you know, so they're doing much more better. The kids are doing much more better, that I was going to do a master's. I was frowned upon. I was, you know, criticized. Oh, just get a job and take care of the kids. You should focus on the kids. Why do you need 2 degrees for? Now I'm doing a PhD. Because I listened to Peter and Craig and not them.
Yeah.
So have listen to the right, you know, there's no right people or wrong people, but then networking, collaborating with the sort of people who inspire you and motivate you. These are the people whom you should listen to, not, you know, people who pull you down.
Yeah.
And sometimes, end of the day, you have to make that, because I strongly feel like it's my responsibility to make me happy. It's not anyone else. It's not other people's responsibility. So that's the main thing. You do what makes you happy.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, do what makes you happy. So I think we'll draw things to a close. We're a little bit early, but you can take the time to go into the chat, which I think will make you happy, actually. I think you need a bit of time to absorb that. I hand back to Peter, I think. Is that who I'm handing back to?
If you don't mind me saying, fuck me. I've been sitting here, and I'm not the only one I know, but I've been sitting here. I'm stood. I've been in tears. I've been laughing. It's been destructive. It's been, honestly, this isn't a conference. this is like something from somewhere on another beautiful, brilliant place. But blimey, crikey, thanks isn't enough. It isn't enough. I think, Joe, you did such a great job in sharing that, and then you 3 guys, I honestly, that's taken to places I didn't know I had to go to. Right, I'm just gonna say, you know, let's have an early break. Let's recover. Let's recuperate. That has been a journey and a half. That was outstanding. It really, truly was. The reason for this, and more reasons than we knew we had. So I'm just going to say, let's have a break.